Hey guys, this is Dean with the Two Party Podcast. I'm here with Pam Lob. Is it Lob or Loeb?
Lob, as in
Lob. Okay,
tennis. Yeah.
excellent. So I'm here with Pam Lob, and I brought her on as a guest. We've been working the past couple weeks in several episodes, and a lot of the lives that I've done on social media, we've been talking a lot about self-help, helping others, and just being an encouragement to others in their lives, being an encouragement just in your everyday travels. There's so many things you can do as a human being to help other people in your travels, and in the midst of helping other people, you end up helping yourself, whether you realize it or not. And so at the end of the day, I wanted to welcome Pam to the show. I want her to tell us a little bit about herself. And so I'm going to give you the floor, Pam. Go ahead.
Great. Thank you for having me, Dean. Great to
Yeah.
be here. So I'm a holistic, as in WH. I've added the W to make it holistic health. I've
Okay.
sort of been expanding more and more into holistic health. And I like to call myself a holistic health genie because I feel that I'm so much more than just the average coach. I've got so many different toolkits and hats. I actually struggle sometimes, I've got so many hats that I can put on, but it's really all about helping others to feel better about themselves in every way. So what I've come to realize more and more as I've gone on my journey is every part of us and every part of our lives is interconnected.
Yeah.
And you really can't look at anything in isolation. But of course, that's what happens when we go to the doctor. They only look at the small, what are the signs and symptoms?
Yeah. Right in front of them.
Right in front of them. And, I work a lot with women in menopause, and that's a classic example. Women go, they're not sleeping well, they've got hot flushes, but because they fit into the age bracket of menopause, that's what they immediately get labeled.
They just get stuck in that framework.
Yeah, but stress and menopause have exactly the same symptoms. And the majority of the time, it's stress and not menopause that's causing the problems.
So sometimes it could almost be, or maybe a lot of the time it is a misdiagnosis. It could be something where they're saying you're in menopause when really you just need to step back and alleviate some stress in your life.
Yeah, and quite often a lot of things are down to what we're eating. Our diet and stuff is so important. It has an effect on all of us in every shape and form, and specifically our mental health, because the brain and the gut are so intertwined, and if we damage our gut, we damage our brain, and so we've got the mental issues and the lack of clarity and fog and
it's almost some of the things we take in. A lot of people, and I started back on a fitness journey about 2 years ago, and I've really started eating better. I started working out again, started just doing a lot of exercise that I didn't get. And I'm a general contractor. I work construction. I'm pretty healthy. I'm pretty strong. But I wasn't eating right. And about 2 years ago, I made a decision to be more conscious about what I'm putting in my body and what I'm eating. Once I started doing that, I did feel a lot better. And I've always suffered with depression. I've always suffered with stress, post-traumatic stress, from just my past history as a child and stuff, just going through so much. But I literally, just changing my diet 2 years ago, I feel so much better. I wake up better. I wake up early. I exercise from 5 a.m. to 7. I go from 7 o'clock to work, and I work all throughout the day whenever I get home. But I still make it all the way through into almost to bedtime, and I still have that energy, and I still feel really good for my age. And I know a lot of people, diet is a big thing, and I guess a lot of people just don't understand how important diet is.
Yeah, it's huge. It's something I've really learned on my own journey. I started off, I'm a qualified nurse, so I did my nurse training to begin with. So I was very much down the sort of Western allopathic medicine model. And then I started in my 30s, getting really, really severe abdominal pain.
Okay.
To the point that I could barely function at times. And I got 2 young kids by this point as well, so it was really difficult. I kept going to the doctors, and all they kept doing was giving me stronger and stronger pain meds.
Right.
Which never touched the pain. All they did was make me drunk and hungover at the same time. It's the only way to describe it. Feelings that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. It's just horrendous, especially when you've got young kids. So I gave up on the medication because it wasn't doing anything anyway, other than make me feel even worse.
Yeah, and I've never been pro medication and prescription stuff. I have weaned myself off stuff. My doctors have prescribed me for years from accidents and just different stuff I did. I've totally weaned myself off because I don't like how they make me feel, but I know there's a better way that I can do organically.
That's right. So that's what really started me on a journey of looking at alternative ways of being. And a friend recommended I do reflexology, and I was like, I don't like people touching my feet.
My wife is the same way.
Yeah, well, I absolutely adore it. I actually had reflexology yesterday, and but I went with great reluctance. But I was desperate, and instantly I started feeling better. She managed to get my hormones a bit more balanced. She was the one that actually said, I think you've got endometriosis. And my reaction was, endo what?
Right. Yeah. What's that?
You know, and even as, you know, in the medical profession, I didn't know what it was. Looked it up, thought, yeah, actually it all fits. Went back to my GP, who I don't think he particularly knew what it was either, actually. I mean, it's much more widely known now.
Yeah, now it's definitely. My wife literally just last year had to have a full hysterectomy due to endometriosis and some other symptoms.
Yeah, that's what I ended up doing as well. And so that sort of started me on the journey of really exploring different modalities, trying to find what worked, what didn't. Then I started doing a lot more personal development work as well. And so I did something called Landmark Forum. I don't know if you've come across that.
Haven't, no.
And that really helped me from a confidence point of view. And I went off and did my psychology degree. And halfway through that, my husband got diagnosed with leukemia. So we had a year of in and out of hospital, months at a time in hospital. And unfortunately, he didn't make it.
Oh, no.
But that added to my interest and yearning
for more knowledge.
But for more knowledge and to really support other people not to go through what I'd done. You know, both the grief and the issues with my husband and the cancer and, you know, my own health issues. So it's been a constant journey ever since. You know, I trained as a counsellor, I've changed as a coach. I'm a heart intelligence coach, art of feminine presence teacher, personalised health coach. So I've been adding on these different modalities. Yeah,
and I've looked
throughout the years.
I looked at your website, and I've also looked at your profile where we got introduced over on one of the platforms for picking up guests and stuff. And I was just looking at your profile, and I mean, you have an extensive background. You've taken time to invest in yourself, which is awesome. And I mean, I'm just really impressed by your background and what you've invested into yourself to help other people.
Thank you. You know, and it's still a learning journey. You know, there's layers and layers. And you know, I'm 60 this year. And I actually feel younger than I've done probably in any part of my adult life.
That's good.
I've certainly got more energy.
Yeah, and I'm 44, and you know, every day I feel like, you know, I used to feel like I was like 90 years old, and I still do because I've done a lot of hard things in my life. But you know, I feel better now in the past 2 years since I've changed my diet and kind of worked on myself, my health, my mental health, my physical health, my emotional, my spiritual. I feel so much better now, and I, like you said, I do feel younger.
Yeah, and you know, so it's a combination of a good diet, really reducing toxins out of my environment. I try, you know, I pretty much only use organic or natural cleaning products, body products, the lot. And I work with a breakthrough health product as well that allows our body to replenish its cell signaling molecules, and that's made a huge difference as well. Okay. You know, to the point now that I came over to the States. I should be in the States right now. I'm actually in Manchester, UK. But you know, the world has got different ideas right now.
The year 2020 is really taking a turn. How just real quick, side note, how is it there? I memean, are you guys in lockdown? What's going on there?
It's all over the place. So now it's very much by area.
Okay.
So I'm just south of Manchester. So Manchester's in lockdown. Stockport, which is our nearest big sort of town, is also in lockdown.
So they're kind of monitoring.
So 5 miles from me is in lockdown, and we're still okay here.
Okay.
But yeah, it's so confusing. I think it's like you guys over there. I mean, my daughter lives just outside Detroit. She lives in Troy.
Okay.
So, you know, I'm very familiar with what's happening, and I've lots of friends in the US. So
it's been a wild journey, because you have, you know, obviously in the United States, you know, over there, you know, we're known as like this nation of freedoms, and this nation where we can do things that other countries really can't sometimes. And that's great, but we also have a mixed community and mind thinking, you know, the thinking of, you know, lockdown, and then you have the other people that are like, no, we're in a nation of freedom, so we can do whatever we want. And so while some states are locking down, others aren't, and still people are able to travel. And unfortunately, the people traveling from the high positive states are coming to the states that aren't, just visiting. And so what we're seeing here is just kind of, if you ask me, it's kind of chaotic, because there's no real regulation going on. It's just, well, I mean, whatever you want to do.
With, you know, with us, I mean, a smaller country, and, you know, I mean, England's probably about the size of one state, if not, you know, most states are bigger than we are. But it is, and I think a lot of people are really struggling. I don't think it matters where we are in the world. I've got friends, you know, in Australia, and I work with people in Europe as well. And the rules are constantly changing, for one, and they're different from this side of the street to that side of the street, literally.
Correct.
It's like going, my God, the overwhelm is just, it's tipping people over the edge, especially mentally.
Yeah, and like we just said, that's exactly where I was going to say, is like we just touched on. It's so stressful. You have people that are so stressed, so full of anxiety, people that already had suffered from anxiety and stress, and then this hit, and it goes right on top of it. I had a friend of mine several months ago. He killed himself. In the midst of all that, you know, between going through a divorce and then the pandemic, he literally took his own life. And you know, I walked into that. I had to go over there and kind of help his son and family when he did it. You know, it's literally right around the corner from my house. And, you know, it's tragic. The stress and the anxiety that this year, you know, this pandemic, and like you said, the uncertainty. You don't know today what the rules are, as tomorrow the rule. And if you're a business owner or something like that, it's even more tragic, because you potentially this year have lost enough revenue to go out of business.
That's it. And, you know, it's a huge concern on the whole of that front. So that's where I've been spending a lot of time recently, is going into that in a bit more depth, you know, trying to work out what's true and what's not true from
it's so difficult finding facts sometimes.
And what we're coming through, I do a podcast myself called Live the Impossible Show, which I do with two friends in Denmark, and we've been interviewing guests from around the world and touching on some of the aspects. You know, we're not afraid to sort of go a bit dark and deep at times.
And we on this show, it's an unfiltered show, so we touch on things that people don't want to hear, but we do it.
And I, you know, what we're really coming to is we have to question.
Yes.
And then feel in to ourselves and go, well, what feels right? Because I don't know if it's purely, you know, there's bits on all sides that are true.
Right.
It's trying to pick your way through it
and find the facts, and then make sense of it all, but bring it all together to where it makes sense. Is our government doing what's best for us? Are we supposed to be doing what's best for us, and not taking so much the guidelines that we're hearing? You know, there's so much misinformation out there that unfortunately it can cost lives, because there's so
totally. And there's no saying that one side or the other's right or wrong. I think it's a combination, and it's feeling your way through it.
Yep.
And
we really need to find that happy medium, where filtering, like you said, filtering through, but then coming together for solutions.
So, and I think the main thing right now really is to come into yourself, to really come into your own self, and take time for you to be still. You know, mindfulness practices are fantastic. Getting out in nature for walks, things that connect you with yourself and with the good sides of life, you know, the nature, the animals, the beauty, that side of things, and really reducing down exposure to the news.
Media I have my own press credentials. I'm a journalist. I do this show. You know, I own several businesses. At the end of the day, I have to be in the middle of the media just to keep up with things and stay up with current events. But I'll tell you, my wife likens it to having a light switch for my emotions, because I'm able to switch those things on and off. Whereas a lot of people, you know, all they do is they absorb themselves in the media and they believe it and they believe it and they don't research, and unfortunately the media is kind of the enemy. I mean, the media, the journalists that we have and some of the media corporations we have now are really doing a disservice to all of us.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And you know, and it's even harder for you guys with the election coming up as well. So I won't go down that line. But
it is. It's a nightmare here with that.
But it's you know, we've got Brexit, so you know, we're probably not that much better off anyway.
And I've been paying attention to a lot of that, because I do, when I do a news breakdown, we do a news breakdown on the show, and I keep up with world news, and I have been watching with the Boris Johnson and the Brexit and all the different stuff going on in you guys' region. And, you know, I know we're having a struggle here with this election. I mean, you've got people fighting on party lines within the government that's got the people fighting on party lines, when at the end of the day, the people should be fighting to remove the people that are in government and put better people in place. And instead, they're all just fighting over putting these bad people back in place. And it makes no sense.
Exactly. I mean, I think that, you know, in a way, things have got to fall apart to come back together. And, you know, the sort of common sense and the common laws have gone out the window, and it's really trying to get back to that. And that's what I'm really working with right now, is trying for us to come together and find that way of negotiating together a way through this path, because we can't do it alone. And just trying to work out what's true and what's not true today. And it literally is today, you know, because it might change tomorrow.
You never know. You wake up tomorrow and something gets announced on the news, and the whole world is changing all over again. And it's so scary that can happen like that, and it has happened. You know, but what's most important, I think, is, like you said, on an individual, you know, as an individual and on an individual basis, we've got to remember what we're bringing in, not just in our diet, but what we're bringing into our mind. What energy or what knowledge are we feeding our mind? Because the stuff we put in our head is just like the food for our body. And
totally. And our thoughts are so powerful. You know, they can literally kill us, and they can literally heal us. It's hard work, but it's doable.
The self-talk and, you know, working through, you know, and as humans, as a being, we're not meant to be alone and segregated. We're meant to be companions. We're meant to have fellowship. We're meant to be around each other. That's how we're designed. And
and that, you know, and what's crazy right now is, you know, how our immune system works. It works from being primed by each other.
That energy.
So we're actually reducing our immunity because we're not in contact with stuff.
And that's scary.
So there's chances of getting more nasty bugs, or certainly, you know, even just common colds and stuff. We're much more at risk than we normally would be, because normally we're just in a constant
always moving,
surrounded by them all the time, and
always being exposed to different bugs and stuff going on.
So you're right, we need each other from and you know, you think from the mental point of view, you know, our immune system has an effect. All of this, that's what I say about the interconnectedness. It has an effect on every aspect of ourselves. So if our immune system's depleted and everything else, it's also causing issues with our brain fog and lack of clarity and fatigue, and you end up in this vicious cycle going down into deeper depth of depression or whatever that might be.
And I did a live yesterday, and I spoke to just kind of speaking to the audience on some of the social media. I think it was on Facebook I did, and you know, I really was trying to hit on the point of, you know, there's a lot of people that, you know, they like alcohol, they like to drink, and whether it's socially or not, whether you're an alcoholic or an addict, you know, some people, you know, they like to drink, and one of my points I was trying to make is, like you just said, some of these things, you know, you do them and they're unhealthy for you, and they set things off balance really. And so I was trying to encourage some of my friends that do socially drink, that I've known for years, that socially drink. And I'm like, you know, hey, you've been drinking for, you know, 20, 30 years. How about you take a break every once in a while? Give your body time to detox. Give your body time for your liver to have a break, for your kidneys to process properly. because that's something you haven't done in so many years. And not judging, not trying to be rude to them, but that was my message is, let's take time for your mental health and your physical health as well as your spiritual, by maybe stepping away from something that you already know is doing damage to your body, whether it's in a small amount or a large amount.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, it's definitely worth doing a detox of some description.
Yeah,
2-3 times a year.
Temporary, a couple times.
I mean, just a week.
Yep.
2 weeks of, as you say, reducing the alcohol. Well, stopping the alcohol. So it's reducing it for a bit and then stopping it totally. Coffee, that sort of thing as well.
Yeah.
And literally just having a week on, vegetarian,
good food,
quality, clean, organic vegetarian food, water, detox tea, which is got cumin, fennel, and coriander seeds in it. Is a really good detox. Just other herbal teas, just for a week, and you'll see such a big difference.
So what are some things, I was looking at your book, Beyond Hot and Crazy. Tell us a little bit about your book and what inspired you to write that.
So what inspired me to write it was, number one, I'm dyslexic, so I always I'd always wanted to write a book. And at school I said, you can't write, I didn't know I was dyslexic at the time. It wasn't anything we'd ever heard of in those days. Yeah. And but I was always got red ink all over my work, and you never be a writer and blah blah. But I started doing a newsletter, and friends were commenting on how much they enjoyed it, and would I write more? And it just made sense to write about menopause because of my journey. I was thrown into it with the endometriosis in my early 30s. The treatments I was having for endometriosis were causing menopausal symptoms. Okay. I then had a hysterectomy, and which is, as your wife will know, you smack bang into it whether you want it or not.
Totally. And my wife, she's 36, so I mean she's young still.
Yeah. I was 40.
Yeah, and to her it was like, and her sister had, it kind of runs in their family, kind of genetically along those lines, and her sister even in her 20s had to have the same thing.
Yeah. It's such a shame. It wrecks lives. Yeah. But and again, I'm pretty sure now, knowing what I know now, that I could have avoided a hysterectomy if I'd gone down some of the treatments and protocols I'm now using. I'm pretty sure. You can't say 100%.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and every case can be different. I mean, it can.
Exactly.
With my wife,
that's why I it's holistic, unique, personalized.
With my wife, it was very expansive. It was spread throughout, and they did go in and do a procedure to clean out for one time to see if that would work, and it immediately within a month came back. Yeah.
No, I had that too. Yeah.
It was so severe, and she was in just so much pain. And it's one of those things. She didn't know what to do. There's nothing she could take. There's nothing I could do. Like you said, pain medicines do nothing. You're just living with the pain. So as I say, I think with the products I work with now, I think there's a strong chance, but you can never say 100%. Yeah, and every case is different. Yeah,
every case is different. It's always worth a try, because we are definitely better having all our organs if we possibly can. Yeah. But I'm with your wife. You get your life back when you get rid of the pain.
Yeah, and it's taken her. She had that at the beginning of this year, and I mean she's recuperated. She's feeling much better. She's back working out. She's getting in shape. She's eating right, and she feels better. The pain's not there.
Yeah. I mean, the pain is just so draining. I mean, people who've never experienced constant high-level pain just don't understand how draining it is. I mean, it took me probably until actually when I started doing the personalized health, my it was the first time I really got my energy to a good level. And then when I started working with these breakthrough health products 3.5 years ago, that's when it went stratospheric. It made such a huge difference. I don't get exhausted now at all. I can do big events back to back in the States, drive across the States.
Yeah.
Hike up Zion and stuff. We no issue.
It's amazing how it changes your lifestyle. You're living in pain, and that you're having to basically live your life around the pain. And then once the pain's gone, like I watch my wife, and things have just opened doors for her, because she's able to do things that before she just could not do with the pain.
Yeah, exactly. So going back to my book, I felt that people need to have a much more broader picture than just the HRT and stuff. And what was really behind menopause, as I said before, Stress is a huge one. You know, menopause is a natural process. We should be able to just sail through it.
Yes.
Like, you know, like we do with puberty. Yeah, there's a few little rocky bits, but nothing major.
Right.
And so that was behind it. So then, you know, the book looks at stress, it looks at diet, it looks at our beliefs, because we've already said our belief system has a huge impact, and our limiting beliefs. And
for sure.
And through that, you know, I get more involved with coming into our body and the embodiment side. And then also looking at our natural essence. You know, we've all got an essence that is our strongest. It typically goes with gender, but it's not 100%. Right. So, you know, again, a lot of women are stressed because, you know, the whole of society is geared for women to work from their masculine essence. Right. But that is stressing our body on a daily basis without us really being aware of it, because it just becomes normal. Yeah, it's been ingrained in our society. I spoke with another guest about how she highlighted really well the way she described it, of how our society just for hundreds of years has kind of put this bubble and this stigma on women, and it is stressful, you know, to please the husband, to have the kids ready for everything, and to have dinner ready, and you know, all these things that women do that they don't get credit for, that they do so much. You know, and I'm reminded daily, you know, that my wife and I talk about it all the time, and we joke about it, but women are so much, I mean, all species are different, and in the same aspect, all equal, but women really are stronger than men. And I can proudly say that today. Women really do have a strength that us men don't have. Yeah, I think it's a different strength, isn't it? I think men's strength is more physical and women's is more an emotional strength. Yep. But the thing is, when women are out of their alignment, men come out of alignment too, because basically we need that polarity between us. Right. So what happens is women go more towards the masculine, so men have to go more towards the feminine. Right. And then we're all confused. Yeah, then we all don't know what's going on. And we're all triggering each other, and you know, there is that, you know, I'm stronger than you. No, I'm stronger than you. And it's a constant battle. Yeah. When actually, if both of us come from our natural essence and work together. And learn to complement each other. And complement each other, so that we can put the more physical strength of the male, who are excellent at pushing rocks uphill. Right. Yes, you know, yes, we can do it, but it stresses our body much more. Mm-hmm. Why we can direct going, left a bit, right a bit. Get it, like, navigating up the hill. Utilizing, that makes a lot of sense. So it's getting that balance for all of us, and I think that's where we really need to go in life today as well. Is that more collaborative, co-created space of where we can all thrive from our own strengths, be it masculine, feminine, right? Being a creator, or being I work with Genius U with health dynamics and wealth dynamics, and we talk about different modalities of strengths, like as a creator, or you've got steel energy, so that you've got, you know, very good at numbers and that sort of stuff, which, I mean, I certainly not. I mean, it's my real weak point. I was never really good with numbers, and then I decided to go back to school, get my computer engineer's degree, and I for some reason it just clicked, and I guess maybe because I was older, and it just started to click, and the numbers made sense, and I was able to do all these equations that I had never in a million years could even figured out, you know, and it just kind of came to me at that point, and I was like, and I think what you said there, when it makes sense, when things start making sense, and you can see the purpose, and you can get into the flow, you know, things all slot into place, where at school, everything's so, this is the way it's got to be. It's structured. And you can't step out of the bounds. You have to do it this way. And I think when like you said, when I got older, it was kind of like, okay, well, this way works for me, and that's what I'll do. And I was able to do it, you know, and so I was able to get those numbers and kind of make it click. And I kind of amazed myself with it. But you're right. I mean, we got to use our talents and basically what we have as gifts, and we have to, you know, work together to utilize those, whether we're in a relationship or whether it's just a friendship, or, you know, in business meetings, podcasting. I mean, there's things that you have to do to work with your other, you know, your fellow human beings, and just kind of work together to integrate our own talents. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, totally. I mean, I've worked pretty much, for myself the last 10 years,
Mm-hmm.
working with clients. This year doing the podcast, I've come together with two friends. There's three of us do it, so two friends in Denmark. And now we're doing a membership site, and there's a bigger group of us. I'm just loving the co-creative
Mm-hmm.
space. It's just so nice bouncing off each other. And
yes. Yeah. And that's part of what I enjoy. My wife always tells everybody, once I start talking to someone, she's like, shut up. You're never going to shut him up. He's never going to shut up. And it's one of those, I do, as much as I'm kind of an introvert, I'm really an extrovert at most of the time. And I really genuinely enjoy conversation with people. I really enjoy engaging with people and talking. And she knows that. And, that's why when I started Two Party Podcast, that's, a lot of people were like, is this a political show? And I'm like, no, it has nothing to do with politics, even though we'll talk about it. It really is about just two parties getting together, engaging in a discussion like we used to back in the day before we had cell phones. And just really talking about topics and having a genuine discussion and like you said, bouncing ideas off each other. And it creates such a great moment for the guest, for me, for the audience, just to be able to do something that I feel is almost a lost art, which is communication. It's so important.
Mm-hmm. And I think, actually, you look at your title, it's getting people again to see that broader perspective. It doesn't have to just be the political.
Correct.
We get so brainwashed.
Yes.
And I think that's what's really important right now is to let go of the brainwashing.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, we interviewed Sacha Stone. I don't know if you've come across Sacha Stone. We were chatting with him yesterday, which was
awesome.
Amazing opportunity.
Really great interview.
And he says, a great way of looking at it is changing your thought pattern. Is the deer crossing the road?
Right.
Or is the road being cut through the forest?
That's deep. That's really
deep. And it's like, whoa. Yeah. And he,
it's a great way to change your perspective, because I think with the political stuff and the things that go on with everybody kind of at each other's throat during the election and all this stuff, it's not just like we discussed about facts, but it's also perspective. It's literally being open-minded enough to remove yourself from how you view things and place yourself how they're viewing things, and maybe see for once that's why they think the way they think, is because of their perspective.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's always worth taking that step out, or the helicopter view.
Yes.
Putting yourself in your friend's shoes.
Yep, always.
If you're stuck, just always go, okay, let me put myself in their shoes.
Correct. And
a great body. If I was Nelson Mandela, what would I do? If I was Donald Trump, what would I do? If I was, Elon Musk, or whatever name you want to come up with, just try on these different hats.
Yeah. And what makes them think the way they do? What makes them make the decision they do, or say the things they do? Or
it might be just Joe Blogs down the street.
Yeah. I mean, pretty simple. Some of what I found in my life throughout the years is that some of, of course we have famous people, and the media makes people famous. And what I found in my life is that some of the biggest examples and people that have really contributed the most to my life are people that nobody's ever heard of, and nobody may ever know. And some of those people have influenced me in ways that I couldn't even thank them enough. And while I know our society kind of has us focused on celebrities and focused on big names, and I really do, like you just mentioned, a great name, Nelson Mandela. I mean, I look at people like him who, he didn't mean to be who he was. It wasn't his intention. But here we are, we're discussing him, and he set a good example in some of his morals and some of his ideals. And we need more of that, with less of the media blowing it up to make one person the object of something that's bigger than what they really are.
And I think that's true of sort of the stars, as movie stars, rock stars, whatever, compared to someone like Mandela, who was really, his circumstances just led him on this path.
Yes, and he was just like you and I to begin with. He was,
and we don't know where we're going to end up.
Yeah, correct. And so it's just interesting to me how the media can change a perspective, like we were talking about. And I mean, something as simple as just the camera angle or just the words spoken can change two people's minds completely two opposite ways.
Exactly.
And
And I think
unfortunately,
what's scary today is, you're seeing some of these
yes,
clips and mini movies, and you're going, well, is it true or is it completely staged?
yeah,
I mean, I saw one the other week with Obama, and you would swear it was him.
yeah.
But he'd actually never said any of these words. They actually showed you how it had been done. And it was like, oh my God,
Yeah.
this is scary. This is really scary.
And it's going on everywhere. And unfortunately, the division is there. And the worst thing we can ever have or ever want to experience would be division. And unfortunately, we're seeing more and more and more, not just in the media, but in our actual, due to the media and what's going on is it's now happening. It's like a wave or dominoes. It's just happening now in society because the media is helping create this narrative. And unfortunately, it is becoming more and more divisive, where that is exactly the opposite of where we can find wellness and good health and low stress, less depression. The divisiveness, the arguing, the everything has to be heated conversation versus just having a conversation. And I find that contributes a lot to what we're seeing with the increase of depression, the increase of suicides, the increase. It's just so scary. And like you said, as an individual, you have to take a look at what you're bringing in. So if I wake up at 5 a.m. like I do to work out, if I were to go work out and turn on the news all morning, and that's what I'm going to start my day with, I'm probably going to be a little stressed. I'm probably going to have worries and anxiety over things that I don't have any control over.
Exactly. It's really important to have a good morning routine.
Mm-hmm.
And a good nighttime routine for bed. Yes. And both of them involve switching the phone off.
Yep. For sure.
So you're not getting the news. TV is, I mean, watch a movie or a documentary or something fun.
Mm-hmm.
But stay away from the news channels late at night. Stay away from the first thing in the morning.
For sure.
Don't get onto social media first thing either. Do something for you, be it meditation, be it exercise, a combination of both.
Yeah,
maybe
for sure.
Some journaling.
Yeah.
And then, while you're eating breakfast, maybe just if you absolutely have to, just take a quick check-in on the news. And literally it's just a check-in to say, is the world still alive?
Right.
Are we still here today?
Yeah, exactly.
And, is there a new rule that I really need to know about today? But other than that, forget it.
Yeah, the media, to me, it's just so unhealthy. It's almost like you want to be healthy, you want to not have depression, and you want to have no stress. And the second you turn it on to any news channel, it's almost like it's basically like they're a disease, and as soon as you turn it on, you catch it. It's how I feel about it. And when I do news breakdowns,
it's actually probably more harmful to your health than COVID right now.
Yeah. And honestly, I think I could say that, I would kind of agree that stress would be, and it is. Yeah. And I think the news, you could say that the news is probably worse for you than the COVID. When I do the news breakdowns, I'll usually do I'll go through just headlines. I don't get deep into the articles unless it's something that really catches my attention, or the audience messages me and says, hey, let's look into this. But I'll go through the headlines, and I go through world, I go through US, I go through local, and then I go through business, technology, and science, and all the fun ones I like, obviously, are the science and technology stuff. I enjoy the more reality stuff than I do this news, politics, and election stuff. But I go through it and just to keep up to date. But at the end of the day, it is, like you said, it's so stressful. But I won't start my day when I wake up at 5, I go work out. I have a TV in the gym that I work out in my home gym. And, when I turn it on, I turn on a show, or I turn, like you said, a documentary or something or I'll just put on music, because I don't want to start my day feeding myself with stress and anxiety.
Exactly. And stress it's not a disease. Stress isn't a disease. It's just dis-ease.
Mm-hmm.
And it's at the root of pretty much every illness.
Yeah.
So, again, with the more stressed we are, the more likely we are to get something like COVID or the flu or whatever else is going around, whatever bug for the month.
Because am I right when I say stress, it affects your immune system?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it affects your immune, it affects every system.
Yeah. So when you get stressed,
so,
your immune system then is lower. So yeah, you are more susceptible to other things. Yeah.
So you know, again, it's just part of this vicious cycle and stuff. And it's really important that we cut it.
Yep.
And start getting healthy and standing at what's right for us, us and our health and our family's health.
For sure. And our community as well. You know,
yeah.
I'm a big advocate for the little things I can do to help others and help myself. I hope to set an example for the people around me. And then hopefully that makes my community better, and then slowly makes my state better. Then slowly, hopefully it'll make my nation better.
Exactly. And then there's nothing beats like volunteering or something like that to really boost you, you know, on your mental health front. Just getting out and helping somebody else who's, you know, it might be just picking some litter off the street, or mowing the lawn for a neighbor, or doing some shopping for them, or, you know, or it might be going and working in the soup kitchen, or you know, whatever. Again, it's finding something that moves and inspires you.
Correct.
And that's such a huge way to improve your health.
And that's really, like I said earlier when we talked before we got on the show here, is that's really been my focus. I've really been taking time to reflect in the mirror on myself, and really reflecting on creating new habits that I want in my heart, that I don't want to have to think about, if I see someone in need, I don't want to have to think about, do I react and help? I want it to become a habit where when I see someone in need, I just help. It's not even a second guess. I just instinctively go help immediately. And so that's the things in the next 30 days I've been working on in myself, that I want to create that habit in myself. Because in our society and in the world, we're all so busy. Life is stressful. And sometimes we may see something, but because we're so caught up in our lives, in our moment, that we won't take time for someone else. So I'm trying to create a habit in myself where I help others just unknowingly, just do it.
Yeah. I mean, to begin with, you know, it's saying, right, you know, every day I'm going to do an intended act of kindness.
Yep. And it means so much.
And it means so much. And then you get it then becomes a habit. It's a bit like doing a gratitude journal. It's one that I do a lot with my clients, and it's probably everybody's favorite thing. Yeah. You know, before you go to bed at night, write down 3 to 5 things of what you're grateful for today.
Yeah.
But you can't repeat any of them.
That's cool.
So you have to start looking deeper. So today you might go, oh, you know, the sun shone, which at the moment, you know, it's just about trying to right now here. We've had hail and all sorts today.
But you can't rewrite it.
But tomorrow it might be going, well, it's how the sun shines through a raindrop. Or the warmth of it on my face, or whatever. And you have to start digging deeper and deeper and deeper. And
that's
then,
really cool.
And then you get to the point where you're seeing them through the day. You know, the guy who holds the door open, well, doesn't have to be a guy, could be anybody. Somebody holds the door open for you.
Yeah. A smile, a compliment, anything.
Yeah, exactly. And you go, gratitude.
Yeah.
You know, so you're getting them throughout the day. So you've got this constant boost and top up of bright, shiny energy. And
that's really what, you know, like at the end of the day, I'm hoping within this next 30 days that, you know, I know it's already impacting me, and I'm hoping within the next 30 days, it's even more impactful in me. Yeah, and I hope it just becomes a lifelong pattern and habit. And hopefully by me doing it and sharing it with my audience and encouraging them to do it, I'm hoping that in all of their communities around the world where they're listening, that they do the same thing. And so we slowly make an impact. Even if it's just in our small circles or our small communities alone. Yeah.
A friend of mine does these lovely little cards, the thank you cards. So you can just, you know, you can hand one to the checkout girl,
right,
in the supermarket, or
that's awesome.
Just you know, people that don't normally get a thank you, just give them a little card, and again they can then pass it on and stuff as well. And that's an awesome way of doing things.
That's a really awesome way, because I spoke about this the other day, because the reason that's so awesome is because you don't know what that one person's going through. Like you said, somebody at the checkout counter, that lady could be in an abusive relationship. She may have just lost a loved one. So when you do a kind gesture and just remind them that they are important, you're taking them out of that stressful or that depression moment, without even knowing that you're doing anything for somebody who's in pain.
Yeah, or it might just be a plain thank you.
Yeah, it could just be
certainly noticed that, you know, with all the extra restrictions at our supermarket, I think we're a bit better than you are, from what my
Yes,
daughter says. But
yeah, I agree.
You know, we have to queue to get in. Well, actually, there's a set number allowed in. But I must admit, the last few times I've been, I've not had to queue at all. Yeah. But there's somebody standing there handing out trolleys and baskets and wiping them down as they hand them. So, you know, there's one thank you.
Yeah,
and then we have these automatic swipe machines that you can swipe your own shopping. So, which is quite clever.
We're not doing that good
here. Somebody else hands you that, you know, and it's a thank you again.
Yeah.
I had to do it myself the other night, and boy, was I confused how to get it out of the machine. But, you know, and then there's somebody counting the people out again.
Yeah.
You know, and just stopping and having a word with them and saying thank you. It brightens all of us days out, because typically that's all the people you've seen for like 10 days.
Yeah, and it's being intentional.
The height of lockdown, that certainly was the case.
Yeah, and being intentional about it, you know, making sure that you, like you said, like making sure you're thanking those people, just, and it becomes habit, and it means so much, not just for yourself to do it, but especially in this time where we're locked down, you're not seeing anyone, like you said, it's important. It's really important.
Yeah, and then they're happy and jovial with everybody else as well. So it's that ripple effect in the positive direction.
Let's I want to give the audience an opportunity for you to share where they can find your book, where they can find information about you and your website. Why don't you share that right now, and then we'll wrap up.
Okay, so Beyond Hot and Crazy is on Amazon. It's in Kindle, paperback, and audio. It's also on SoundCloud. You can also get it on my website. My website's www.pamlob, that's PAMLOB.com. Okay. And I've got loads of free resources on there. I've got a midlife blueprint rejuvenation program that's a freebie. There's low-end courses, high-end courses.
Very cool.
You know, all about me and things. And then livetheimpossible.today is our podcast, or Live the Impossible Show is the actual, if you just search that. And I'm
going to check that out. I love catching other podcasts and just reflecting on what they're talking about.
We're literally launching this week something called Holy Land, which is going to be a membership site, and that's holy as in WHOLY, land.
Very cool.
Holyland.me is the website for that. And so that's a membership site for people who are wanting to expand, to grow, really looking into sovereignty and freedom, who want to be leaders in forming a new world that we want to see. So
very cool. Yeah,
it's going to be a co-creation space. So it's
and it's
very excited by that.
It's important to have places like that to encourage people, because, you know, while we can always talk about the change we want to have, we have to take action. And a place like that would be a great place for people to get together, gather, discuss ideas of how they can be that change.
Well, that's what, you know, the intention is, that, you know, we can share resources, we can share ideas, we can help each other in the ups and downs of navigating what's true and what's not true, and just supporting each other. So very
cool. Well, Pam, it's been great having you on here. I'm going to have you back as a guest in the future, because I want to dig a little deeper in some of the stuff on your website and some of the stuff you do. So we'll have you back in the future for sure. I appreciate you coming on this morning. This morning for me, this afternoon for you.
Yeah, no, it's a pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
You have a great day.
Just great to share with everybody. Take care.
Take care. Yep.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.